Our next story is about one of the biggest taboos of parenting, the favorite child. This favoritism has been a muse for memes, the path to Oscars for Sophie's Choice, and the bane of every black sheep's existence. But parents rarely admit that they have a hidden favorite. Sometimes they treat it like a dirty secret, other times they don't even know if they have one. But let me tell you this, parental favoritism exists. The numbers will surprise you. Studies say 65% of the families worldwide have a favorite child who is given special treatment over their siblings. And this is usually brought up in good humor, but in real life it can be very harmful. It comes with sour family ties and long-lasting mental health impacts. What are the pitfalls of picking a favorite? And can parents simply avoid it? Our next report tells you.
Parents worldwide are in on a little secret. They're colluding together, keeping their children in the dark and lying to them day after day. Sometimes even unknowingly. But now it's time to burst the bubble. You haven't been imagining things. Studies say most parents do in fact have a favorite. If you're the black sheep, yes, this is the stuff of nightmares. And if you're the golden child, don't get too happy yet. This is kind of a lose-lose situation. But before we cue the crisis, let's cover the basics. What is parental favoritism? It's where a child is treated differently as compared to their siblings. The favorite child gets privileged treatment. Now, most parents would disagree they do this. They rarely admit to picking a favorite. Only 10% parents do, to be exact. But science disagrees. Research says parental favoritism occurs in about 65% of families, and this happens the world over across different cultures. It's so widespread that psychologists have a name for it. They call it parental differential treatment. And it's more than just a quirk of family life. It can actually cause widespread damage to children's well-being. The golden question is, who is the golden child and who is less favored? Many believe that birth order plays a role. The firstborns are the natural favorites. That's not really true though. Research says last-born children are more likely to be picked. So, what causes this so-called favoritism? The strongest predictor is a parent's feeling of the child being similar to them. But even so, this isn't a sure-shot formula. Favoritism is subjective. Sometimes being the favorite is about receiving more praise, attention, and affection from parents. Other times, it's about enjoying less discipline or attention. Research says children are aware of preferential treatment from an early age, and feeling second best comes with harmful consequences like low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, and risky behavior. It can also cause indirect problems. A Chinese study says it can increase mobile phone addiction among teens. A Canadian study says it can hamper family ties. Less favored children can share a difficult relationship with not just their parents, but also their siblings, which is worrying. Because according to science, good sibling relationships are important for lifelong happiness. And favoritism doesn't just end with childhood. The problems continue to haunt people well into their adulthood. Maternal favoritism is associated with higher depression scores in adults, but the issues aren't limited to mental health. When people are young, favoritism can mean lesser time spent with parents. As adults, this changes. For them, favoritism could mean unequal financial support for a child compared to their sibling. As we mentioned, the problems of favoritism don't favor the favorites either. Complicated sentence. Basically, being the golden child can cause emotional distress too. Favored children are prone to depression. They also bear the brunt of conflicts with less favored siblings. And during adulthood, favorite children often deal with unequal burden, as they usually take up the caretaker role for their parents. All in all, favoritism is damaging to families. The question is, why can't parents just stop picking favorites? Usually because they don't know they're picking one in the first place. They do so unintentionally. And experts say the answer is not to treat all of one's children the same. That would be impossible. The solution is to become more self-aware and to not cause unequal or partial situations. Favoritism passes down from generation to generation. Becoming aware of differences in treatment can help break the chain. After all, Playing favorites is a dangerous game for children.